Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze, it's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. We have a nice full team here to discuss this week's episode of the television show. We are making our way through the 53, 54 season, I think, or 54, 55 season. I don't know. The fifth season of the Jack Benny show. I know that. So this one we just were talking before we got on air that this is obviously a filmed version. We think it probably is supposed to be a live version, and I'm going to look around and see if I find the live version somewhere. But if it's not, probably the live version, what they call the live versions, are the tape versions that were made later on, and just got mislabeled. So, but I'd rather bring you some version of this if I can. So if I have to bring you the studio version a few years early, then I'll do that. We'll figure it out as we go. But anyway, we've got plenty to talk about. So we have, let me just run through who's all here so we know. We have John Henderson. Hey, John.
Hi.
Hey. Hey, John, you got anything running special on your podcast or anything for Christmas time, or what do you got going on?
Every episode is special. No, I usually just choose an episode from around that time of year. So obviously we'll get Christmas episodes as we get closer to Christmas. You know, it's interesting to hear the episodes that are like, this episode is after Thanksgiving. It's not a Thanksgiving episode, but they mention Thanksgiving, and it's before any Christmas episode. So it is fun to hear like where they are in the year.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, just really because, you know, both of us go through the year at the same time with Jack, and I was gonna move up. I'm like, oh, there's a Thanksgiving one, but it's next week. I should move it up to before Thanksgiving. But then I'd listen to it, and he'd be talking about how it's after Thanksgiving, and they're remembering things. So I thought, I'll just leave it where it is. It's fine. So you end up. Sometimes it just depends on the year and where Thanksgiving fell and where Jack's show fell, and they wanted to do like a Thanksgiving and Christmas show every year, and sometimes it ends up being after thinking back to it, and sometimes it's not. So it is what it is. Anyway, we have Kathy Fuller-Seelig. Kathy has big information coming out for us. Kathy, what do you got?
Well, hopefully volume 3 of Jack Benny's Lost Broadcast should be out within about a month. I got the text done and approved the cover. And so the controversial thing about the cover is that I tried to put in an inside joke. During this 13-week period, his first sponsor, Canada Dry, up and moved the show from the NBC to the CBS network. And the cover image that I continue to use on every, I don't have one with me, has Jack with a NBC microphone. So I found a CBS microphone sometime in the early, so I substituted, I wanted it to look amateurish. I pasted, thank you. I pasted a CBS microphone over it, and someone on Facebook has already gone, well, what's that microphone? That's not accurate. And it's like, okay. You know,
I read that one too, and it's like they not only were criticizing the microphone, it was like, and then you weren't even using that brand of microphone at that time or something. I'm like, okay, I didn't even know. It's a microphone.
Yeah.
I assume it wouldn't be like a ring cam or something. That would be a little out of tune. But, you know,
No, I'd actually approve that. I'd approve that. Put an iPod in his hand or something.
That's why you are not the editor of her books, Zach.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. That's that. She paid me exactly 5 pennies.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah. My edit, Kathy's.
I should have put a little head of Gracie Allen instead of the microphone because
Not even her head, just a tiny Photoshop Gracie just standing on the microphone.
Well, let me give folks this just about Kathy's books, and I was just holding the first one up. This is my paperback copy, which is nice, but I also have a hardback copy of it, so I try and keep that going too. Anyway, every book, all 3 of them are interesting and it's neat that each one has something unique about it. The first one ends with the very first appearance of Mary. The second one has their very first, I think, their very first movie sketch, if I remember right.
Right. Mhm.
And this third one probably really is the most interesting of the three in a lot of ways, because there's so much turmoil going on in the background. It's probably the most turmoil that would happen until losing Harry Conn, when that happens a couple years past this one. And then probably not again until, because Jack didn't have a lot of turmoil. So there was kind of,
I beg to
okay,
differ.
you would never, but I would say, to me, the three big turmoil.
Have you seen his films?
See if you agree with my three big radio.
Okay, radio
let's
turmoil.
Let's
Gotcha.
just say that Jack wanted to present the idea that there was very little turmoil.
Yes.
And that's the fun of going back and telling the truthful story that he overcame, incredible things that were kind of done to him and his show. And he managed to triumph, but it sure didn't look so at the time.
I was just going to say that it was kind of that one, this one that's in volume 3 that you cover in the intro, which is great. Then and
the next
I'll do an interview later talking about it. The
next one will be in volume 4 when Chevrolet, the show is doing great, and Chevrolet just summarily up and fires him. And that's the one that he would never talk about again. The one that hurt the worst was the fact that the new CEO of Chevrolet preferred polka music to comedy. And just
do you not understand that you're supposed to be playing up volume 3 because that's the one coming out, and not even hinting at the greatness of volume 4 that is way down the line for us. So we have a lot to look at.
She's the Kevin Feige of Jack Benny writers.
But I will finish my line of thought because I'm going to do this. So to me, the next big kerfuffle would be, of course, the Harry Conn thing. And then the next big kerfuffle would be the whole switching from NBC to CBS, and the talent raids that were going on at that time and things. So those would be the three biggies in my mind. Though I do realize early on and that's what makes these books so interesting, because there's turmoil going on throughout the early years of Jack. He's changing sponsors, he's changing, in this case, networks. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. So awesome.
Kathy, can you tell me the time period? What are the months? Or
it is from the end of October, like October 30th, 1932 to the middle of January like 22nd, 1933. So it's a 13-week period, because the sponsors kept divided the year into 4 13-week periods, and you could either continue to pick up somebody's option, or you could cancel your show without penalty every 13 weeks. And that's, spoiler alert,
there you go.
That's gonna happen. So
and let me tell my viewers really quick, anybody out there, if you're gonna go buy these, they're on Amazon. I would buy the hardback. I like them better than the paperbacks. Are $10 more, but it's worth the $10 because the paper's better, and I love the hardback feel to them. And the other reason I would get them is because they sell for exactly $39, which is the Jack Benny price for anything. So
and there's often sales. So one can also look at Bear Manor Media, and sometimes Ben Omar, the marvelous publisher, will have sales. So. In fact, he's going to start bundling the Benny volumes.
That's what I was going to say. Bundling all three would be a cool thing to have them at a certain price with the release of the new book. So yeah. Anyway, so check that too. And it's so cool that he's publishing these things. It's just it's delightful that can happen. And I love the fact that it's the colors, kind of the colors of the rainbow, or the Jello rainbow anyway. Because we had the first one that was in blue, second one's in green, and the new one's in yellow, correct?
Yes,
Very
sir.
Cool. Very cool. And then let's go on to let's see. We didn't talk to Hope yet, I don't think. Hope, how's things going with you?
Pretty good. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot going on with creative projects right now. I just I just started a new job, so yay.
Oh yay, good for you.
Yeah. So getting a good chance to jump back into Jack Benny now.
Nice.
Yeah.
and we've just been having meetings about the Jack Benny convention and everything that's coming up. Zach, when does the convention come up? And because you're one of the main ringleaders of that, I know.
February 16th through the 18th of 2024. Get your tickets now. No, they're not available yet. Don't ask. Don't ask me for them yet. No. But yeah, that's when BennyCon 24 will be in full effect, as it were.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get on to this episode. So we'll start off with, well, I don't know. Let's start off with John. John, what were some of the things that stood out to you in this episode? Go for it.
Well, I like the episode in general, but some of the things that stood out to me, I really loved the Mel Blanc bit where he's the telegram guy. I thought it was so funny. I laughed out loud, which I don't always laugh out loud, even if I do enjoy something. And so I really liked that. The rest of the episode was fine. You know, I thought it was fun to have the interview process for the story of his life. I thought it was a good sort of twist when the old lady came out for the mother character, and then you get to the kids where like he's playing the agent. It's fun and delightful. So I would say all in all, it was a pretty good episode. It's the kind of episode I would watch with my kids, maybe. Excellent. As opposed to this. Yeah, but I when I'm watching with my kids, I always have to like decide how much explaining do I need to do, because even something like that, like the telegram thing where it's like, this is what a telegram is, and this is how it used to work out, sometimes that's fun. So yeah.
And I'm waiting for your kids to say, Dad, I don't need that explained, I understand that already. So
totally. Yeah, don't you know that's in this little radio show that we listen to every week. That's true.
Telegrams are coming back. I just read it on Threads, so it's all coming back.
Yeah.
Well,
I would say text messages are the new telegrams.
Oh yes.
Thank goodness we don't have to tip yet for
That's
them.
right.
Well, and I don't normally do this, but I'm going to, in the show notes, if you look down below, folks, because this is coming out, just so my team knows, this is the next episode that should be coming out anyway. So we're recording it today. We're going to release it tomorrow, so it'll be fast. So we're in the Christmas season, of course, just starting up. It's December 2nd, I would think, for us. And for you guys, it'll be December 3rd when you get this. And each year I put out an album I put together of the Jack Benny Christmas album. And it's always fun to listen to. I get more positive comments about that than just about anything else. So, because there was never really an official Jack Benny Christmas album, but what it is I grabbed Dennis singing, Frosty the Snowman and so forth from the various episodes, or the sportsman singing their commercial about a Christmas song or whatever. And then from the Phil Harris and Alice Faye show, sometimes certainly Phil does Jingle Bells, and they both sing together on Maybe It's Cold Outside. So it's just a nice little collection. It's got Mary on there singing with Jack, and just lots of good stuff. So I'll put that in the show notes. Have a listen to that. It's just a fun one. I'll put a link to both. I have one where I talk about it and kind of give you a preview of the songs that are going to be coming up and kind of where I got them and all that sort of thing. And then the other one doesn't have me talk at all, and it's just the album itself. So you can listen to it either way. So there you go.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I just like to expose that to more people because it's just a fun thing. And and it took me whatever 20 hours to put it together, so I like to share it any way I can to kind of say, okay, that was justifiable. Anyway, Hope, what were your thoughts on this episode?
I really enjoyed it. I love all of, like, I do enjoy the Mel Blanc bit, but I really also just love the just casting for the various people, but I really enjoyed the casting for his former sweetheart. I just think that's just a chance for Jack to get to play the that he thinks he's so suave, the vanity there, which I think we go to him being so cheap so often, but I really like the fact that he gets to kind of play up some of his other traits that they sometimes go to. So yes.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you enjoyed this one. Kathy, what are your thoughts on it?
I think your reaction, Hope, is very interesting because I was kind of shocked by it. To me, this episode had some things that were kind of extreme or not quite. Okay, so I thought that Jack was performing indeed handsy, sexually attracted, really into this girl in a way that I hadn't seen him do that since Marilyn Monroe. And I'm not sure he ever does it again quite so sincerely about the length of their kiss. And I love how his secretary says, he's reminiscing, that he's frozen in just sort of desire and delight. And she says, she explains it by saying he's reminiscing. So I thought that was stretching the character, just you say, in a different way. Yeah. I was really intrigued by them saying he's born in Waukegan because we know he was born in Chicago. And that, that his mother went to a hospital in Chicago. So it's like you're violating Benny Cannon here by having him be born.
Which he and his writers do from time to time. So
yeah. But the way that the skit with the beautiful girl has the marvelous switch to it when the dear little grandmother lady turns out to be Mildred Holmquist. So,
yes.
I thought that was just.
I love that. I thought that was so funny. And I did when I was talking just now, and I mentioned I would show it to my kids. Then I thought for a second, I was like, oh, I forgot about that scene. It sort of borderlines on sexual harassment a little bit,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, maybe we should cancel Jack Benny. I think.
There you go.
Retroactively, let's do it.
I will say.
This is our last podcast about Jack Benny. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
But also for him to feel connected to a hard driving bargainer, given that he's always the loser in those kind of negotiations. Again, I thought it was kind of a little bit of an extension of the character in unusual ways. That he's usually not that successful in bargaining, and so I thought it really interesting that he admired the little, and I wanted that kid to be called Belly Laugh Barton.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Back into radio history, so
he definitely had that flavor of Belly Laugh Barton for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and speaking of the kid, we had talked. Well, in fact, I'll turn it over to Zach, and maybe Zach can go into a little bit of who the kid was and what our theories of our why he was named Harry and things. So I'll turn it over to Zach.
Wonderful. I'll go ahead and start by saying that I hadn't watched this episode in about 2 years, but this is one of the first television shows of Jack's that I ever saw. This is among that little group because there was a couple of different bootleg DVDs out there milling around while I was in middle school. And this one sticks out to me specifically for the first section in the house. As I've gotten older, the second half tends to be a little bit more fun, but and the Mel Blanc, everything, all the bits work for me personally. I mean, with the exception of Jack being handsy with the woman auditioning to be his girlfriend. And that is a part of Jack's humor that I tussle with, along with certain jokes about Rochester. But the opening bit with Rochester typing at the typewriter contains one of my favorite Rochester bits of all time. I would place it in the top 10 of my personal favorite Rochester moments, which is when he says, "Boss, I've been telling you for 2 years to buy a new ribbon. Why should I buy a new one? Because taking the old one out and dipping it in grape juice is ridiculous." And that, John, similar to how you sometimes have to explain to your kids what some technology is, I actually asked my dad if that could work. And I got a strange look, followed by an explanation of no, that would not work. But the kid at the end, there's some contention about this. So there are two versions of this show. there's one that's shot in the 50s, one in the 50s, there's one in sometimes in the 60s. The one we watched, that was sent over, contains a performance by Barry Gordon. Barry Gordon was a child actor. I've gotten more familiar with him because of a film called A Thousand Clowns, which I covered on my own podcast. And he, if you think he's funny here, you need to watch A Thousand Clowns, because he's allowed to go off the rails a little bit. And I think it's one of the first, might be among the first films in history to have somebody uttering the word boobies, which I thought, hey, that's hilarious. Because I'm still immature. But yeah, his but the other version out there, if it exists in circulation, would be with Harry Shearer playing the agent. But Barry Gordon's playing him this time, and I think his timing is excellent on the whole $2,000. Still think I'm cute. Like, it's like, again, I'm flashing back to watching A Thousand Clowns, going like, that's the Murray, kid. That's dope. And additionally, just like the payoff of that joke at the very end with "no, not him, him" is a great payoff. Like, I think it's among the best payoffs Jack's ever had on his television show. I can't say
it's definitely one of those where the audience can see it coming, because you're already putting in your head,
yeah,
that guy's much more like Jack than the other kid is,
but he does a good job at
which is nice.
He does a good job of trusting the audience to get it, but he doesn't play his hand visually. He's not indicating for 1 second in his performance what the choice is going to be. So if you're not familiar with Jack and you're just getting into Jack, this could still be a surprise.
Sure,
it was even having listened to radio shows prior to seeing this episode, I still found myself a little bit like on the edge of my seat, wondering how in the heck does this end? But yeah, and the Mel Blanc bit is fantastic. I like watching Mel cry, which is a very strange statement to say out loud, but he's just really good at crying and doing that sad sack routine there. And I enjoy this episode still to this day. And yeah, I think Rochester, part of how I know that this is has to be a later one is because he's not in it as often as you'd like him to be, unless they're like centering some kind of a plot around him, like the whole Isaac Stern and him conspiring to make Jack thinks he's a better violin player, etc. So I like watching Rochester, period. This is a good one where he is only needed for this first scene, and he does his job, goes home, and if you didn't have him in there, the beginning bit might be a little bit more boring, with the exception of Mel. So
I like to have him in there. I like to have Dawn in episodes. I like to have Dennis, certainly Frank Nelson, all these characters, because and Mel, of course, but because the more you have them in an episode, the more different little flavors you get, and I just love that. And that's why I love about the radio show is you get all these cross pieces going back and forth that in TV you don't get as much of it, but when we do, I like it, and so I'm very thankful for that. The other thing I just want to say about the two actors playing the kids, Harry, is that if the other one exists, and just so you guys know, we all watched the studio version, but if the live version, if I can find the live version, I'm going to connect that on here, and so you'll see the live version. So it's going to be a surprise for you which version you get. Who knows? Point,
because Laura shows an illustration, and it's definitely a different, beautiful girl.
Yeah. And so my question is, does he? It'd be interesting to watch the girl scene, right? Does he interact with one girl more than the other girl at the different time frames? I don't know. And the other piece I think would be highly interesting would be watching the two versions of Harry, because one, Harry Shearer, who's an excellent actor, and Barry's an excellent actor. So to see them and compare those two back and forth would be a lot of fun, I would think, because you don't often get two really good child actors doing the same bit where you can actually compare the bits. So that'd be cool. Yes.
And
Hope.
I would just say that we were talking about this before, about whether we've seen this show, and I know that we have, because I have commented on the woman before, and I can't find anything about her on this one, because the one that we did, I was sure that she was the one that was on a live like performance that Jack did for like the troops.
Mhm.
Sure. Okay, I just found it. The one we actually watched was January 1st, 1961.
Mhm.
And it says the sexy girl was Jackie Russell, and it does indeed have a Barry Gordon playing Harry Johnson,
Yep.
and a little kid named Dennis Holmes playing Jimmy Evans.
Mhm.
So thank you for the Barry Gordon. That helped me find.
Yeah.
Very good.
By the way, I was looking up earlier before I
look at the illustration, so we know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I was
So we know that's the one we watched. So
when I was going into my spiel, you guys probably saw me typing because I was trying to look it up because I couldn't remember the characters he plays. But can anybody here name 2 animated characters that Barry Gordon ended up voicing later on in the 80s?
Ooh.
The Fox and the Hound.
That'd be hilarious. No, Donatello and Bebop in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
what a career!
Yeah. He helped define a generation.
It is fun to kind of be a detective because, like, we came in with
Mhm.
the date. So many of these Jack Benny episodes are mislabeled on the internet, and we have to be detectives to figure out, what's going on here. And when they said Harry, I was like, oh, that's going to be Harry Shearer. And they got a close-up.
Exactly.
Like, that's
It was
not
like,
Harry
that's not Harry
Shearer.
Shearer.
If I hadn't started coming on this show, I probably wouldn't have been as easy to discern the differences now, but film stock quality, resolution, my
I
eyes trained on
I
it.
should have
Yeah.
gotten it from the dress that the sexy girl wears. It's not a
The dress, yeah, the dress is also an indicator, and also the title card changes, whatnot. There's indicators, and also certain crew like Joe Kern or Jovi Kern directing and whatnot. Like these are later on down the line.
Also, you can
crew.
listen to the references. They reference Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, and Fabian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They probably changed those between the two. I bet they did. Huh.
Yeah. But yeah, you could just the definition of the image from 1954 is definitely going to be far vast different quality compared to a film show and whatnot. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Well, with that,
put it up anyway, and
yeah.
Yep. So with that, we'll let them enjoy the episode. Whether you're going to get the live one or the studio one, who knows? But you'll eventually see both over time. So, but one of them not for a ways down the road if it's from 1961. So we got to get
Yeah.
that.
Oh, and I have to give a shout out to the gentleman who got 1,000 clowns into my eyes because it's made me appreciate Barry Gordon. Nate 3.0 from the show Yo, That's My John. He's the guy who got me down that little rabbit hole.
Nice.
So a shout out to Nate.
and I'll make one more shout out to, since we reference it all the time, Laura Leff's book. It's wonderful. It's like it says volume 3, but it's the only volume 3 is the entire television run of the Jack Benny show. Volume 1 and 2 are the radio shows. So and this is, I would say this reference book, all of Laura's books, are for the diehard fan, just to get it straight. Because these are quite expensive to get. And for us, they're indispensable because each page essentially focuses on one episode. There's really not much talking about, is this a good episode? Is it bad? It's just giving you the facts about that episode, who was in it, a little synopsis of it, that sort of thing.
It's the dragnet of Benny books.
It's great. But if you're looking for like a story about the show, or that's not what these books are about. So I just don't want to mislead anybody. So if there's a reading, most of them have like
volume 4 in the works.
Oh, law enforcement work,
Just
right?
to do the same thing of selling a book that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I don't know what she would cover, but the movies maybe. But anyway,
I'm technically writing that volume, but I'm not gonna
I
usurp her
think the
title.
Volume 4 is the special. The
That's what
TV
I've heard. Yeah,
other
yeah.
other
Mhm.
TV.
well, I was just going to throw out to people that if you're thinking about getting it, what I would suggest is you go to Amazon, even if you're going to buy it somewhere else, it doesn't matter. Find it. Chances are Amazon usually has like a preview thing where you can look through a few pages of it before you buy and just see if it's the thing you're looking for. If it is, then great, because it's really helpful if you're, especially if you're doing like a podcast like we do or whatever. It's really nice to have that reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's let him enjoy the show, and we will see you folks next time. I hope you have a great holiday. This is probably our last. The rest of the holiday shows we present will probably be ones from previous years that we recorded intros for before. So anyway, this is our last one with you guys. Enjoy Christmas 2023, and I hope you're enjoying as we bring these to you. And just so you know, theoretically, I'm bringing these to you usually. We have a new premiering episode every Sunday at 4:00 West Coast, 7:00 East Coast, right? So Sunday nights at 7 is when we have these coming out, but 7:00 East Coast. So there you go. And so tune in, and we during the premiere, I'm always there, and so you can send me little messages, and I just talk a little bit about it to folks. And we're getting just way more. We used to have like maybe 1 or 2 people show up for premiere day. Now we've had as many as, like, some days we have as many as 4 or 5 people show up. So it's great. It's really growing. It's really expanding. I love it. Anyway, enjoy. See you next time.
From Hollywood, the Jack Benny Program.
Rochester, how's everything going?
Oh, I'm almost finished.
Yeah, you know, this might be a very interesting program. I mean, imagine the studio doing a whole hour television show about the story of my life, you know?
Boss, there's so many celebrities in Hollywood. How come they picked you?
Well, I wasn't exactly their first choice, you see, but they found out that mine was the only life they wouldn't have to censor. Darn it. Well, let's see what you've got this written already, huh? Oh, for heaven's sake, Rochester, look at the way you're typing. Some of the words are so light I can hardly read them.
Boss, I've been asking for 2 years to buy a new ribbon.
Why should I buy a new ribbon?
Because pulling the old one out and dipping in grape juice is ridiculous.
Look, just hit the keys a little bit harder, and everything will be all right. Gosh, I'm really excited about this story. The Life of Jack Benny, Scene 1. The waiting room of the Waukegan Maternity Hospital. Suddenly, the door leading from the delivery room opens, and the doctor steps into the room. Jack's father, excitedly grabbing the doctor by the lapel, says, "Doctor, doctor, what is it?" The doctor says, "It's a boy." Jack's father, "A boy? That's wonderful. I'll call him Jackie. How much do I owe you?" Doctor says, "Nothing. Jackie already paid me." Rochester, this isn't the way I wrote it. I mean, who put that in?
I did. I thought it might be better if we start with a laugh.
Look, the programs don't always have to start with a laugh. All they have to do is be interesting.
We were interesting with our last sponsor, and he dropped us.
Oh, Rochester, answer that, will you? I got to go and put my coat on, and I've got to go down to the studio and cast this show, you know, for my life.
Oh, Mr. Wilson, come on.
Hello, Rochester. Benny here?
Oh, yeah, he's here.
Hey, what's going on here?
Oh, I'm just typing the story of Mr. Benny's life.
Oh, yes. He told me all about it. Well, let's see what he has here. Well, he starts out from the time he was born, and then when he started to go to school. When I was 8 years old, I received my first violin. 2 years later, I left Waukegan to attend the conservatory in Chicago. Rochester, do you think Mr. Benny really attended the conservatory?
He must have, because nobody can conserve like he does without taking lessons.
Oh, hi, Don.
Oh, hello, Jack. I've just been looking over the script Rochester's been typing.
Oh, the story of my life, huh?
Yeah. You mentioned me in it?
Oh, for heaven's sake, John. Do I mention you in it? Well, naturally. I mean, and the way I dramatize it. Oh, it's just beautiful. I tell about the first time you came to work for me, the early days of radio, you know? Remember years ago, you worked for me then, and I remember when you first started, I gave you $5 a week and your meals. Remember that?
Yeah. Gosh, I wish I had that deal again.
Well, you're not going to get it, brother. I'll get it, Roger.
Telegram for Mr. Jack Benny.
Oh, thank you. See who this is from. Oh, Don, it's from the mayor of my hometown, Waukegan, Illinois. You know, this is an answer to a letter I sent him. You see, I want him to be on this television show about my life. See what
Oh,
he
no
says.
kidding.
Yeah. It says, Dear Mr. Benny, it is a great honor and privilege to represent the city of Waukegan in the story of your life. To assist me in formulating a suitable speech, Mr. Benny, please send me the following information. When were you born in Waukegan? How long did you live here? When did you leave? And what type of business are you in?
Oh, Jack, he doesn't even know you.
He does, too. I mean, he was always a great kidder, this fella. Well, I have no answer, so you may go. What are you waiting for?
Well, I don't like to mention it, but when one delivers a telegram, it's customary for one to get a tip.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
The amount you may choose to give me is entirely up to you.
Yes, I know, of course.
In a matter like this, why, I wouldn't want to influence you in any way.
No, I understand that.
Do you mind if I use your phone for just a minute?
No, go right ahead.
Well, thank you very much.
ahead. Let's see. Change. I thought I had smaller change in this.
Hello, Martha. This is Hyman. How's Grandma feeling? Not any better, huh? Well, what can we do? I know. Can't afford to buy medicine for the baby either. Martha, if we spend that money for medicine, we won't be able to buy any food. Huh? What? The landlord was over? What'd he say? He's only going to give us 2 more days. Well, I'll try to see what I can do, Martha. Keep up your courage. Right, Martha?
Boy, control yourself. Oh, I'm terribly sick. Control yourself. Here's the tip.
Oh, gee, thank you, mister. Oh, no. For a lousy time I just wasted a routine I could have sold to Betty Davis.
How do you like that?
Jack, you only gave him a dime?
He didn't go to conservatory for nothing.
Rochester, please. Now, Don, I hate to have to leave you like this, but I must get down to the studio and cast the show.
All right.
I want to get the right people in.
Go right ahead. See you later.
Fine. See you later. Good morning, Miss Gordon.
Well, good morning, Mr. Benny. Several people are waiting in the outer office in answer to your casting call.
Oh, wonderful. Now, you step out there, and will you send them in as I asked for them?
Yes, I made a list of the characters that you have to cast. Looks like it's going to be an expensive show.
Let's see, an actor to play my father, an actress to play my mother, an actor to play the doctor, someone to play me when I was a little boy. This will be expensive. Let's see, who can I eliminate here? Well, here.
Well, Mr. Benny, you've scratched out the doctor. Aren't you going to hire an actor to play the part of the doctor?
No, I'll send for a real one and charge it to my hospital plan. Now, Miss Gordon, will you please send whoever's out there to audition the part of my father?
Yes,
Will
Mr.
you,
Benny.
I hope you have someone.
Yes, we have.
Okay, good.
Won't you come in, sir?
Oh, how do you do, sir? How do you do? Sit right down here. Now, do you understand you're here to audition the part of my father? See? And you are about his height. I mean, you could play the part, I imagine. What's your name?
Kevin O'Houlihan.
Next. Well, I'm sorry, but don't feel too bad about it. You know, Barry Fitzgerald wouldn't get the part either. Neither would Sesha Hayakawa. So no, maybe some other time, eh? Fine. Goodbye.
Mr. Benny, there are no other actors here to audition for the part of your father.
Oh, well, let's see. Who do we have to have next here, then? Let me see. Oh, I'll tell you. Oh, I want, have you got a girl to play the part of Mildred Holmquist?
Mildred Holmquist?
Yes. Oh, she's the girl I first went with, my first sweetheart, in Waukegan, Illinois. And she, well, she wasn't too pretty, but there was something about her that attracted me to her, you know. And of course, she was much younger than I am. Is there anyone, have you anyone to play that?
Yes, one. I'll send her in.
Fine, thank you. Let's see.
Oh, won't you come in, please?
Hello, Mr. Benny.
Hello. Hello.
Would it be all right if I sat down?
Well, you know that dress better than I do. Sit right here. Sit right down there.
I understand that I'm to audition for the part of your first girlfriend.
Yes. Her name was Mildred Holmquist.
Well, am I the type?
No, but I can rewrite the part. You know, Mildred Holmquist, this is you know, this girl that I used to go with, she was rather pretty, and she, well, I don't know. We went together for a long time, you know, and I don't know. I'll never forget the first time she ever kissed me. Gosh, it was so exciting, you know. Gosh, I never will forget it, I think.
Did she kiss you like this?
Hello? No, you can't talk to him now. He's reminiscing. Yes, I'll be glad to tell him when he comes to.
Well, Mr. Benny, do I get the part?
You'd get the part if your name was Kevin O'Houlihan. The only thing is, you know, it is a rather difficult role, and I think we should rehearse every day.
Well, I don't think that's too necessary. I've been doing this type of thing quite often.
Well, I know, but I haven't. Well, anyway, you'll be absolutely wonderful in it. And you're really suited to the part. And thank you. Goodbye.
Mr. Benny, this is your office.
Oh! Well, anyway, I'll see you at the rehearsal, eh?
All right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye.
Goodbye. Well. Oh, Miss Gordon. Miss Gordon.
Yes, Mr. Benny.
I've cast the part of my sweetheart, Mildred Holmquist. The young lady who was just in here is going to play it.
Can she act, or am I clouding the issue?
Now, let's see, who else do we have to cast? Oh, I have to have someone to play me as a little boy, you see, and then an elderly lady to play the part of my mother.
Well, which one would you like to cast first?
Maybe the elder lady first, for my mother. Is there someone out there?
Yes, Mr.
Fine.
Benny.
Okay.
Won't you come in, please?
How do you do?
How do you do?
Sit right down, dear. As you know, you're going to audition to play the part of my mother in this, eh?
Yes, that's right. And I feel I can play the part very well because I came from Waukegan, too.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know that. What's your name?
Mildred Holmquist.
Mildred, don't you remember me?
Why, Stinky Benny!
Mildred, it's so good to see you again. Oh, what are you doing in Los Angeles?
I'm visiting my grandchildren.
Oh, for heaven's sake, isn't that wonderful? Well, I'm going to tell you something. You've got the part. Oh. You're going to play the part of my mother, and you'll be just great in it, too. And I'll see you at rehearsal.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, Mildred, remember? You remember the first time I asked your father for your hand?
Yes. I had $1 in it.
Goodbye. Gosh, it's hardly changed a bit. Miss Gordon, will you send in the little boy now, please?
Mr. Benny, this is Jimmy Evans. He's been in pictures and on television.
Oh, hello, Jimmy.
Hi.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Now, Jimmy, you know the part that I'm casting, do you?
Yes, sir. I'm supposed to play the part of you when you were a little boy.
That's right. That's exactly it. And I'll bet you'll be wonderful in it.
Thank you.
Naturally, before we sign the contract, we would have to discuss salary, you see. Is your mother or father here with you?
No, sir. They're not here.
Oh, they're not. I see. Well, there you are. Now, Jimmy, as to salary...
You'll have to discuss that with my agent.
Wait a minute. You have an agent?
Yes, sir. And he's here with me.
Your agent is here with you?
Yes, sir.
Miss Gordon, will you please send in Jimmy's agent?
This way, sir.
You're Jimmy's agent?
Yes, sir. The name is Harry Johnson.
Now, how do you do, Mr. Johnson?
You sit over there. I'll take over now.
Isn't he cute? Well, Mr. Johnson.
Now, Mr. Benny, I understand you want to use my client on one of your television shows.
That's right. That's right, I do. He's supposed to play me as a little boy. And now, you being his agent, what do you think I should pay him? I mean, what do you think would be a fair salary?
$2,000.
$2,000?
You still think I'm cute? Don't stand there bleeding. Say something.
Well, wait a minute. I think $2,000 is a lot of money.
Well, he's been in television all his life.
All his life?
I was born on the medic program.
I still think that $2,000 is too much money.
Well, that's his salary. You know, these kids can't live on lollipops.
Well, now, wait a minute. Now, in the first place, I don't think the part is big enough to pay $2,000.
Well, while you're thinking, do you mind if I look over the clauses in the contract?
No, I got it here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, here.
Thank you.
There it is, right there. What's the matter?
Same old legal mumbo-jumbo. Now, Mr. Benny, I'd like to add a few things to this contract.
Yeah?
Anytime my client rehearses for over 4 hours, I want him paid time and a half.
Time and a half?
And should rehearsal go beyond 6 o'clock, then you have to pay for his dinner.
What are you talking about?
Also taxi fare to and from the studio.
Now, wait a minute. First, you want $2,000 for this kid's appearance. Then you want me to pay overtime, and then his food, and his taxi bill. Well, let me tell you something. You're the most grasping, greedy, conniving, miserly person I've ever met.
Well. Come on, Jimmy. We can't do any business here. I sort of think you overdid it. No, I didn't. Come on.
Wait a minute. Hold it. I just thought of something. Miss Gordon, will you please come in and witness the signing of a contract?
You see, you gotta be rough with these guys.
Well, Miss Gordon, I found the fellow to play me as a little boy.
Well, congratulations, Jimmy.
No, not him. Him. That's the guy I want.
Him? Are you sure you've cast the right boy?
Am I sure? Why, this kid could be my own flesh and blood. Come on, Harry, sign the promise. There you are.
Just call me Blue Eyes.
Okay.
Jack will be back in just a moment, but first, here's something of interest to everyone.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we finally cast everybody for my big spectacular, except the fella who's supposed to play me as I am today. Now, I brought up names like Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, Fabian. But they decided on Yasha Heifetz. When I say they decided, I mean Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, and Fabian. Well, good night, folks, and I'll see you next week.